These are the 4 things you have to consider when you're picking your first self-storage property. So during this presentation, I'm going to be comparing 2 different types of self-storage. REIT quality self-storage, REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust, REIT quality self-storage, like something that Public Storage or Greenbox or another very large private equity firm or company trading on the stock market would buy. We're going to be talking about that type of storage. Then we're going to be talking about the profitable kind of storage, as I like to call it, which is my kind of storage. We're talking about completely different types of properties. I'm going to lay out the differences between those two and why we don't want to buy REIT quality self-storage in our private equity funds during this slide here. REIT quality self-storage, 50,000 net rentable square feet or above. It's multi-level. There's typically multiple levels stacked on top of each other. They have some kind of security or climate control. They have some kind of special amenity that goes with that building. And it's all on one location. A lot of properties that we end up looking at are built over multiple periods of times. They may be cobbled together from different owners. They're on different locations. Again, that is non-REIT quality self-storage on multiple locations. It works out very well, very profitably for us, but the way the REITs and the larger private equity funds run their income model, that doesn't work for them. So they need all 50,000 square feet to be on one location, one address at a time. So when REITs pick that kind of property, they slot themselves into a very specific income model. They're picking Class A, shiny, pretty, very nice looking, trophy kind of properties. Big brand new $300 square foot kind of properties. And the sales prices for these things are astronomical. There was one built very recently in the last few months that was selling for $300 a square foot. Non-leased, brand new, $300 a square foot for a storage property. Yeah, you can make some income off of it, but I can guarantee that the cap rate that the REIT that ended up buying that thing bought it at was between 3 to 4 to 5% cap rate. Maybe 6. They tend to hover around 5 or 5.5. But that's what you have to do to get these big, shiny, pretty REIT quality properties. These 4 elements right here would help you differentiate between the big, shiny trophy properties that are going to be easier to finance potentially, but are going to make you a little bit less money. First thing to consider when you're picking a storage property for you, aside from the size of the property, aside from how it looks, consider who you are as an investor. Are you the kind of person that if you have a rental property within a couple hours of your house, or maybe it's on your commute to work, if you're going to be driving by that property every day, are you the kind of investor that's going to say, oh, look at this weed over here, I gotta go pull that weed? Or look at this sign that's hanging crooked, I just gotta go take care of that. None of those are life-threatening things. None of those are keeping people from moving into your units. But if you were the kind of person that, number one, has better things to do than run around and pull weeds and help your tenants trash out units, which I'm sure you do, and number 2, you know you are the kind of person that will do these things on a day-to-day basis and eat up your precious time, don't buy a facility that's close to your house. If you do have to buy a property that's close to your house, try to buy something that's closer to A-class so you've got less upkeep and things to consider. Next, consider the size. Not just because of the REIT quality, non-REIT quality comparison and whether or not you'd be competing with Public Storage by that property or anything like that. Consider how a larger trophy-type property is easier to finance. Banks like trophy-type REIT quality properties. They like that 50,000 square feet Class A shiny pretty new building. Even though it might cost you as the investor 2 to 5 to 10 times more to buy it, even if you have to raise a lot more capital to get it, banks tend to like to finance those types of things. So if you have the capital at hand to purchase a very large property and it's very important to you to be able to easily get consistent bank financing, you might consider going with a larger property. If it's more important to you to be able to use a more creative method, if maybe you don't have as much capital on hand, consider going with a smaller property, but be aware that smaller properties can sometimes be harder to finance. Number 3, smaller properties need less employees, simple physics, right? Got less units to manage, you need less management. It's always a good thing. Consider very carefully before you take on a very large property. Again, REIT quality, 50,000 square foot, Class A kind of property. because that type of property will require that you have multiple employees on site no matter what. In a smaller property less than 50,000 square feet, and a lot of cases less than 25,000 square feet, you maybe only need one manager. Or if you automate it, you don't need a manager at all. So consider whether or not you really want to have employees when you're considering what kind of facility you want to buy. And last of all, cash flow. A very simple parameter. You're going to get a lower cap rate with these REIT quality facilities, but because they are bigger properties, you could still end up making more money. If this is something you want to be your primary business, your primary source of income, consider how many units you're going to have to buy in order to get that done. You're going to need less units for a high cap rate property, obviously, but you might need to cobble together 2 or 3 of these smaller high cap rate properties in order to get to that cash flow level. Consider where you want this storage business to drive your income and your lifestyle before you pick your first property.